In this video, we're diving deep into one of the most dramatic and philosophically rich moments in Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit, the section where he introduces true spirit, the ethical world, and the tragic clash between human law and divine law. This is the point in the book where spirit stops being just an individual consciousness wandering through skepticism and self-doubt, and finally becomes a real, living community, a people, a culture, a world. For Hegel, the ancient Greek polis is the first great realization of this. It's the moment where individuals don't feel alienated from their society. They don't think of themselves as isolated egos trying to figure out their place. Instead, they are their duties, their customs, their city. Ethical life isn't something they choose. It's something they are. And that's why Hegel calls this stage true spirit. The unity of the individual and the ethical order seems complete. But Hegel immediately shows that this unity is not as harmonious as it looks. Beneath the surface, the Greek ethical world is built on two different laws, two different forms of the good, two different worlds of obligation, and they cannot be reconciled. On one side, there is divine law, the law of the family. This is the unwritten, sacred order tied to kinship, blood, and the duties owed to the dead. It's ancient, invisible, and eternal. Hegel associates this with the feminine principle, not in a modern sociological sense, but as a structural symbol of inwardness, continuity, and the silent power of the household. On the other side, there is human law, the law of the state. This is the public, universal order of the polis, the world of speech, action, and political authority. Hegel associates this with the masculine principle, the outward, visible sphere of civic life. These two laws are not enemies. They are both absolutely justified, but they belong to different worlds, and when they collide, the entire ethical order begins to crack. This is where Hegel turns to Sophocles' Antigone, not as a literary example, but as the philosophical truth of the Greek world. Antigone embodies divine law. Hegel's point is that both Antigone and Creon are right, and that is exactly why the situation becomes tragic. Antigone is right to honor her brother. Creon is right to defend the laws of the city. But each is right only one-sidedly. Each absolutizes one ethical power at the expense of the other. And because the Greek world cannot integrate these two powers into a higher unity, their conflict becomes fatal. This is why Hegel sees Antigone as the moment where the Greek ethical world reveals its inner limit. The unity of the polis, which seemed so natural and beautiful, is shattered from within. The individual is torn between two absolute demands, each claiming total loyalty. The tragedy is not a moral failure. It is the necessary expression of the ethical world's own contradiction. Once this contradiction appears, the Greek world cannot hold itself together. Spirit moves on. It enters the world of Roman law, where the individual becomes abstract and the ethical order becomes external and legalistic. It moves into the world of the unhappy consciousness, where spirit feels divided within itself. And eventually, it reaches the modern world, where subjectivity becomes central. So why does Hegel spend so much time on this? Because for him, Antigone is not just a story. It is the philosophical turning point where spirit learns that ethical life cannot remain immediate. It cannot rest on unquestioned customs or natural harmony. It must pass through conflict, division, and mediation. Only through this process can spirit come to know itself as a unity that includes both divine and human law, both individual and community, both thought and being. That's why this section stands at the heart of the phenomenology. It shows spirit discovering that its own unity contains the seeds of its transformation, and that the path to freedom runs straight through tragedy.